Aloha! Behind us is the Rossio station, and this morning we're taking a 40-minute train ride out to Sintra. It'll cost about €5 round trip per person, and we're really excited to explore the whimsical Pina Palace, the ruins of the Moorish Castle, and a nearly bottomless well. So we hope that you'll tag along with us as we explore the beautiful city of Sintra.
We took the early morning train from Rossio station. After arriving at the Sintra station, the exit puts you out on the corner of Rue João de Deus and the station parking lot. We recommend using Uber as we did, rather than buses, in order to get up to the lower Pina Palace gates and get in line before they open. Once the gates open at 9 a.m., it is about a 20-minute hike up the hill to get to the timed entry line at the palace. In order to maximize our time, we purchased all our monument tickets online. We recommend visiting the Sintra monuments in the order we present them to make the most of your day. Make sure to purchase the first timed entry at 9:30 a.m. to maximize your day, as it is most efficient to visit this monument first.
Tell me why we have to try. Oh,
Number 1. The Park and Palace of Pina. The Palace of Pina was classified as a national monument in 1910 and classified by UNESCO as World Heritage in 1995. It ranks as the single most important site in the cultural landscape of Sintra. The genesis of what we see as the Park and Palace of Pina is a result of the vision of the king artist Ferdinand II. The architecture incorporates both Manueline and Moorish influences and is surrounded by medieval elements. Much of the king's vision and influence can be seen in the beauty of the park surrounding the palace. If the weather is nice, you may want to take a short hike around the park to enjoy the view from the High Cross and visit the Temple of Columns. This wasn't our first time to visit Pina Palace, but it was the first time touring the interior. The dual staircase leads to the ground floor of the Manueline cloisters, enamored with beautiful Mudahar tile. The tour route led us through the dining room, the chambers of King Charles, and an original niche of the monastery of Our Lady of Pina. Another stairway utilizing a unique handrail leads to the upper level cloister, giving a different view of the courtyard below. From there, we were led to the bedroom of Ferdinand II, where our eyes were captivated by the detailed neo-Mudahar ceiling. The Islamic influence can also be seen in the sitting room as well as the smoking room. Wandering through the Great Hall, we were led to the colorful stag room where banquets were held, giving a nod to a common feature in Germanic romantic castles. In total, it took us about 20 minutes to tour the interior. Continuing our tour outside, we spent some time on the Triton Terrace admiring the tile facade of the palace and the details of the arches of the tunnels that lead to the courtyard of the arches. An advantage to getting up to the palace early is we were able to take the popular selfie shot without getting photobombed. The Triton is a mythological monster that is half man and half fish. The gateway represents the aquatic world with corals and shells, and the terrestrial world with a tree and grapevines surrounding the window above his head. Passing through the archways, we found ourselves on the patio of the arches, where on a clear day you could see all the way to the ocean. Make sure you pop your head into the Palace of Pina Chapel, where you can admire the main altar made of alabaster and limestone from the Sintra region, and the beautiful stained glass window dating back to 1840. We were so glad we got the first entry time slot way in advance, as there was a line now that wound down all the way to the monumental entrance.
Number 2. The Moorish Castle. The Moorish Castle is a short walk from the entrance to Pina Palace, winding along a path lined with vegetation that leads to the entrance of the castle. Built by the Moors in the 8th and 9th centuries, the castle was strategically perched atop one of the highest peaks on the hill range and acted as a defense to the north. In 1147, following the conquest of Lisbon, Sintra, including this castle, were handed over to Alfonso Henriques, the first king of Portugal. In the ensuing years, when the castle was no longer needed for protection, it underwent years of abandonment and decay. During the 19th century, King Ferdinand II undertook restoration of the castle. Then in 1976, the castle underwent stages of archaeological excavations. Now the castle is included as part of the UNESCO Sintra Cultural Landscape World Heritage. Today, the castle's famous walls continue to snake across the hills with their granite blocks interlocking boulders and cliffs. Traverse the parapet walk for stunning views of the town, Penna Palace, and on a clear day, view the Atlantic Ocean.
Number 3. Kint da Regala. Kint da Regala is a UNESCO World Heritage Site as part of the cultural landscape of Sintra. It was built in the early 20th century by a wealthy Brazilian businessman, Antônio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro, who purchased the land in 1892. Monteiro had a fascination with masonry and the Knights Templar, and it is evident as you explore underground interconnecting tunnels, grottos, and wells throughout the property. Once we got our bearings, we headed to the popular initiatic well, or Poço Iniciático, and were fortunate that there wasn't a queue. This popular Instagram spot was even more magnificent than pictures can convey, and we were wowed as we descended 88 feet of stairs of a seemingly bottomless well. We learned that the well was never used for water storage and was built primarily for secret ceremonial purposes. At the bottom of the well, we followed a tunnel that led us to the backside of the waterfall at Lago da Cascata, then turned around and found another tunnel that led to the exit. We wanted to explore the front side of the waterfall that we saw and found our way to Lago da Cascata. This was a popular photo spot and found it congested with people where we waited patiently to take our selfie on the bridge. Climbing the stairs to the top of the waterfall, we explored the Torre de Ziggurat and the Portal of the Guardians. Other points of interest on the property include the Fountain of Abundance, the chapel, and of course we made sure to tour the inside of the palace.
Number 4. National Palace of Sintra. The National Palace of Sintra is located about a 10 minutes walk from the train station along the scenic road Volta do Duque. The imposing structure is right across from Sintra's town center, and magnificent views of this palace can be seen from Penna Palace and the Moor Castle. The National Palace is easily identified by the conical chimneys, which have now become a symbol for the town of Sintra. The palace dates back to the 10th century when it initially served as a palace for the Moors. After the reconquest of Portugal, it became a residence for the Portuguese monarchy. With the foundation of the Republic in 1910, the palace became a national monument. Much of the palace dates from the time of King João I, who is responsible for a major building campaign starting around 1415. The palace architecture is a blend of styles showing its evolution over time. It combines elements of Gothic, Moorish, Manueline, and Mudéjar styles. As you approach the National Palace of Sintra, you'll be greeted by the Gran Terreiro de Palacio, a historic square that used to bustle with activity. This open space, once surrounded by buildings, was transformed into Sintra's main square. Ascend the steps from the Terreiro de Palacio and enter through the majestic Gothic arches known as the palace's arcades. Admire the view of the town through the arches. Climb the stairs to find the entrance hall and Archer's Hall. This room connects two royal palaces, one built during the reign of King João I in the 15th century and another from the reign of King Manuel I in the 16th century. Notice the tiles in this room and in the rooms following. Next, step into the magnificent Room of Swans, the first hall of the palace, where grand banquets, musical events, and festive celebrations took place. Admire the intricately painted ceiling depicting swans in graceful motion. These 30 swans represent the age of Infanta Isabella of Portugal at the time of her marriage in 1430. Enter the Room of Magpies, where King João and Queen Philippa resided. Enjoy the ancient Seville tiles that adorn the walls and admire the ceiling painted with 136 magpies. Moving through the palace, you will see the King's Chamber, the Mermaid Room, and the Arab Room, featuring a low ceiling with intricate Moorish designs on its walls, decorated with colorful tiles. In the center of this room, find a fountain which features detailed geometric patterns and Arabic inscriptions. You will also encounter the kitchen with its famed conical chimneys that funneled smoke away from the palace, making it more habitable for the royal family. Along the way, encounter the galley room with depictions of Portuguese, Imperial Ottoman, and Dutch galleys from the 17th century. Unfortunately, the significance of the event depicted has been lost to history. One of the most magnificent rooms you encounter is the Blazons Hall, or the Coat of Arms room. The dome-shaped ceiling of the room displays King Manuel I's coat of arms, surrounded by 72 coats of arms of the king and the main Portuguese noble families. This ceiling is an important heraldic record of the 16th century. The walls of the room are covered with azulejo tiles depicting hunting scenes of the 18th century. Finish up your tour passing through the courtyards and then wind up back at the Terreiro do Palacio.
Wow, what an amazing visit to Sintra. We got to visit the mystical Pina Palace, peer down an almost bottomless well, and scramble up and down the ruins of a Moorish castle. Mahalo for tagging along with us, so until next time.
Até próxima!
And aloha! And one of their specialties is the Queijada. So this is our first Queijada here in Sintra. So you can see the caramelized sugar on top. And let me give this one a bite. It's kind of a combination of almost like a flour, cheese, sugar all wrapped in one. The crust is different compared to a pastel de nata. It's more of like a cracker crust, a really thin cracker crust, but altogether it's a pretty nice little sweet. You should try one.